Howdy, this is Chris Hunter here again with the Epreneur series presented by Web Unlimited. My name is Chris Hunter, and I am the Vice President of Operations for Web Unlimited, which is a web design uh, company based just north of Houston. Okay, so um, in this series, we've gone over SEO 101, and in this video, we're going to go over how not to get ranked. And the reason I want to do that is to show you some of the things that will hurt you in the long run if you, or in the short term if you try to do them. And our next series will go over how to get ranked. Okay, so a lot of these things are super important. Okay, so how do we not get ranked? All right, we fool search engines with things like keyword stuffing. Back in the days of the early internet and the early days of Google, um, search engine optimization quote unquote experts and marketers and so forth, they figured out that in order to get your way up to the top of the search engines is all you had to do was just make sure that all of your pages were stuffed with keywords. Okay, so you would have people that let's say that they were a web design company. They would stuff their at the bottom of the page with keywords such as web design, website design, web space site space design, and so on and so on. So there'd be, you'd look down at the bottom of a page, and there would be like hundreds of keywords. I mean, below the first fold of the page, there would be, tons and tons of keywords that weren't even really in the content of the page. Well, guess what? Google figured that out. They said, okay, no more of this stuff. Anybody who does this, they're done. We're banning them. Okay, so um, it will not only these days will you'll only not only not get ranked, you might get banned. Okay, very bad thing to do. Okay, and that's just one of the things that we have here. Okay, so next thing, let's go here. Cloaking. All right, this is using a different page for search engine than for the users. Okay, so that if you have the search engines are coming to you and you're presenting them with one page, and the users are coming to you and you're figuring out with a program on and presenting different pages to them, that's a super bad thing to do. Very bad, and it will definitely get you banned. Next thing is hidden text. That's basically making the text on the page the same color as the background of the page. Not good to do. Google figured all this kind of stuff out in the early days, really, and most people stopped doing this kind of thing really about 5, 6 years ago or so. Oops, let me backtrack a little bit. Doorway pages. These are basically like splash pages. They're kind of like that. They're a landing page that's specifically designed to that is search engine optimized, that really takes you into another page once you click here to go forward, or something like that. But they're really for the search engines and really not for the users. And anything, a good rule of thumb with Google is if it's good for the users, it's good for the search engines. If it's bad for the users, it's bad for the search engines. Redirect pages. Now, we learned the hard way here at Web Unlimited. We learned the hard way about 2005 or so, and I can't remember exactly when it was, but I think it was around 2005. Is that we were doing a website for someone who's running for Congress, nonetheless, and we were doing a great job of getting him ranked up there for his keywords and so forth on Google. And he called us one day. He said, "Okay, hey Chris, can you change this page and just redirect it to go to this other page?" Sure, no problem. And so we just put a simple redirect up there with, I think it was like JavaScript, or even we might have done it with PHP. But a couple weeks later, he calls and he said, "Chris, I'm not anywhere on Google. What's going on here?" Right? And so we look. Sure enough, he's not on Google. And we call Google up, which, by the way, is a very hard thing to do. You go try to find a phone number. We got hold of somebody at Google, and they said, "Well, you can't do that." And we said, "Well, we're just redirecting from one page to another." He said, "Well, you can't do that. That'll get you banned." Okay, so how do we get back onto the search engines? For this website, it's very important. Can't do it. We're not going to let you back on. And it was then that we figured out that, wow, you know, these types of things that if you don't know about them, it's kind of like the IRS. If you don't know about them, that doesn't preclude you, keep you from getting hurt by them. So one thing to keep in mind, just don't do redirect pages. There's a certain way to do them that Google is okay with them, but a good rule of thumb is just not to do redirect pages. Because here's the deal: early in the days of Google, is that they figured out, they being the marketers and the SEO experts and so forth, is that they would create a page specifically for Google, and it almost the same thing as what I was talking about earlier here on cloaking and hidden text and all these things, are these same kind of what we call black hat techniques. Okay, so um, just know, don't do them. All right. Duplicate content. All right. Now this is a biggie on Google right now, is because um, they don't like having duplicate content spread throughout the internet, and that's because they know who the originator of that content was, but they figured out a long time ago that these marketers would create a whole bunch of websites, like, not just five or six websites, but like hundreds of websites that all related to the same thing, all had the same exact content, and people would just duplicate these sites over and over and over and over again, and just change out a few things, and thinking that, well, we're going to work our way up to, the rankings of the search engines. Well, by doing that, Google figured it out. Eventually, anything that's black hat or anything like that, they're going to figure it out. Okay, so you know, um, I guess the whole point of this little video right here is, if it's, again, if it's not good for users, it's not good for the search engines. Okay. The next one is link farms. Link farms. Back in the early days of the internet, of Google and Yahoo and so forth, it used to be a good way to get up in rankings, was to create a link farm. And all a link farm is that basically you link out to a whole bunch of other websites, and those websites agree to link back to you. Now Google figured that out, of course, and because the most of Google's algorithms is based off of incoming links coming into your website, meaning that the more incoming links that you have, the more important you might seem. Well, what they did is that they figured out, okay, are these outgoing links related to the website? If they are not related, then it's actually going to hurt you. All right, so link farms these days, most people don't do them, but you still get requests every once in a while. We do probably on a daily basis of, hey, will you please link to our website? Our answer just flat out is no. Unless we designed your website, we're not going to link to you. Okay, and you should be just as judicious